Fun is what it's all about. Today we will review Shadow Warrior 3, and I have to say I recommend this game for anybody who wants to have some fun. I would like to thank Timsley PR for providing the review code. We will be watching tons of gameplay without any spoilers, so enjoy that, and we're going to break down how and what you're going to be experiencing within this game. First and foremost, this game is tons of fun. There's so many different variety aspects when it comes to gameplay mechanics, and that's what we play video games for, the gameplay. Now, before we get into that, a quick story breakdown without spoiling anything. The story basically introduced you very well. If you're new to the series and you have not played any of these games, which these have been around since 1988, Shadow Warrior was a long time series and it was a cult classic in the 90s. And now they're reviving the series in a special way with Lo Wang coming back. Now, if you don't know who that is, it's perfectly fine because the story introduces you him very well. And to be honest with you, we're going to do some comparisons here. I kind of always feel like he is the Deadpool in video games. And the gameplay also supports that in many different ways. But of course, this is a very majestic feel and it has tons of creatures and different things, unlike Deadpool. But the comparison is there as far as a witty character who always has something smart, funny to say during combat, during cutscenes, all of that. His commentary continues to provide entertaining aspects that I personally love because I do love Deadpool and I do love that charismatic feel, especially for a game that's so much fun. And that is the most that I'll say about the story. Will allow you to discover it on your own and enjoy it. It's about a 10-hour experience or so. So you don't have to spend millions of hours doing side quests here. You're going to enjoy the game a ton within that 10-hour packed with gameplay. As you can see in the footage that we're providing here, this is nonstop action with tons of bosses. But there's so much more to this game than just shooting. Okay, you start off with a sword and a pistol. From there you'll pick up tons of different weapons, and man, oh man, when I talk about the combinations that you can provide yourself, it's really exciting. I'm somebody who loves to be creative with my gameplay. I don't stick to one play style. I like to experiment, and this game rewards you when you do so. If you get a little bored by using a shotgun, pull out the dual submachine guns, pull out so many amazing weapons. On top of that, there's a lot more. There's environment kills. There's the dynamic moving with the grapple hook. You can traverse and have combat. You know, there's finishers that you can do to enemies, and you want to watch that very carefully because there's tons of different finishers. Most games have, you know, just a couple, but this right here, depending on who you're finishing, the animations, the visuals, everything is very different, and you'll see some of that in the footage. So just pay attention to the footage as we break this down, and there'll be tons of examples of these things in the game. Now, with that out of the way, there's nothing but gore. Everything is very gory. You can slice someone's head off or shoot someone's head off. You can rip their spine out. There's endless amounts of amazing animations, wild visuals, and it is a very fast-paced game. And if you wanted to try and compare it, you can go with Dukem or you can go with Doom. There's so many different games that it feels like, but it is very unique and it has its own energy and its own style that I can appreciate drastically. These are just some elements to go from there. And now they do have a skill system in here on top of all of everything I'm telling you, which we'll continue to break down shortly. That skill system allows you to upgrade your weapon. It also allows you to upgrade your katana and your ballistic weapons. So you have your katana, your ballistic weapons, and your character himself. And there's many abilities and different things that you're going to be able to unlock. It's like I said, to be creative and enjoy the game in different ways. It's tons and tons of fun. Now, one of my things and favorite things to talk about is the gore side of it. You know, we play a lot of games. They have a specific style. With this, there's a variety of really smash your face type of gameplay. And that's something that's exciting to me, and it's entertaining. And you're going to see tons of that. And the finisher system not only is good for you, it's an easy system. Basically, you got to collect some orbs. Once the meter is full, you can finish anybody in the game and basically do some serious work in that regard. And I love that. And I think it's an exciting way to pick up while you're in the middle of action, picking up the orb so that you can go ahead and finish somebody off. And that right there, to me, is nothing but goodness. And speaking of goodness, there's other sides to the game where you're sitting here with these amazing environment kills that you can do. In the environment, there's tons of different things. There's red, blue, and yellow barrels. All of these barrels are different elements from fire, ice, and electricity. You're going to be able to shoot that and use that to your advantage to disable enemies. It's a really, really good method and something I personally love in the game. And on top of that, your traversal. So the grapple hook isn't just something that you use to get to the next area in the middle of the fight. One of the things that I was doing a ton of was wrapping around the map, going behind a building, and then creeping up and getting good position on the boss fight or just any enemies in the game. So there's tons of that to do and different ways to grapple and shoot and take enemies down. Of course, there's the slide mechanic as well, where you can smoothly go into some gameplay. And I want to see a lot of these highlight videos from people and players about how they play the game. This is me. I'm a true gamer. And when you see the amazing style and finesse and the skill that some of these players have, this game allows you to get creative and really present something special as you're watching here this footage. And that is the essence of the game. And to kind of break down my experience in general, this is going to also be a two-parter on how to really experience it for yourself and get into it. First and foremost, my personal thoughts when it comes to the story. You know, you go into this and say, okay, Lu Wang, who are you? What is going on? What is happening right now? This series is being revived. And man, they did an amazing job right off the bat. He has that, you know, commentary to help you understand what is happening. And right away, the game picks up its story and you're deep in the waters during that time. And then it continues to build up further and further along the way. And he also has companions that I find to be compelling. Can't really talk too much about it right now, but check out the story and you'll see for yourself. And there's a familiar face in there. That's all I can say. But speaking of story, there's tons of reasons to push forward. You know, you love the character. He's very charismatic. But then you have these interesting elements where somebody who you were enemies with and now you're helping each other out, but how much help are you really going to be doing and how long will that last? These are the questions you want to ask yourself when you play through the story, and that's where it'll keep you going. Now, outside of the story, you know, the main thing that I was talking about earlier is the gameplay. And this is the cool stuff where you're pushing enemies into the environment, you're slicing them open, you're doing tons of damage in different ways and having fun with it at the same time and being able to swap weapons quickly. Very, very cool feel. Again, there's endless amounts of possibilities when it comes to you enjoying it. The way they set up the levels, and this is where I want to try to help players out. There's traversal to get to an area, and then there's usually a big fight in that area. And that area will provide environment kills. It'll provide barrels to shoot at enemies, spikes on the wall to destroy. It'll provide, you know, grapple hook areas to swing through and fight while you're fighting. It'll also provide health and things of that nature and ammo, so you can basically do everything that you need to do and get it done. One of those tricky things that is pretty interesting and I actually learned to like was that the health and the ammo keeps regenning in the same spots. So it's going to be a couple seconds, and then you're going to be able to regen and get that. So it's pretty cool if you ask me. Pretty fun and interesting stuff. And I loved that because it allowed me to get into a fight. And in my situation when things weren't well, I ended up utilizing it. As we see this very funny part in the cinematic. Again, this guy's hilarious and he's very well played. I like to commend the voice actor. I like to commend the team for being able to present it in the way that they did. You know, we play these games to have a good laugh while challenging ourselves and enjoying the experience. And I would say put it on hard and you're going to see how skilled you are. And you can always go on normal if you're not comfortable with that. But I really liked it on hard just because it made me feel like I had to really hone in on my skills and ability to play this game. So those are just some key aspects on my personal experience when it comes to the gameplay and the story. And just on a design level, to talk about that and to break it all the way down, you know, there's tons and tons of things for me that stand out. First and foremost, yes, it feels like other games, right? You have your Quake, you have your Doom, you have your Duke Nuke. You have so many different style of games. And then, of course, the character reminds you of Deadpool. So even though there's not a lot of Deadpool games out there, his character feels like, hey, we're playing a Deadpool style of game. But the thing is, this is its own everything from the culture visually to the characters and the setting is totally different than all of these so-called games that you think is similar. And then they own that and they really, really bring it to light with their designs. So these environments look very, very special within the culture. And then on top of that, the gameplay has its own style. As we can see this amazing weapon sparkling the environment and these type of things that just allow it to be its own. And while we all like to compare different things and kind of give that explanation so that people can understand what to expect, at the end of the day, it's its own experience in that regard. And I think that's what they did well design-wise, because I did feel like it was authentic in its own right. And I gave it credit for that. Had me a good time with it. And I believe anybody playing this and fully just like, hey, I want to enjoy this and have fun. That's what it's all about. Sometimes we play games and we're competitive or we're really, want a deep story. And you can get that in this game. But most of all, the thick of this game and the meat of it all is the fun. Even the bosses have fun personalities. They have their own quirkiness and interesting dialogues and, overall just greatness. As you can see here, the funny aspects of them trying to break through this wall and failing. And there's tons and tons of small details in that regard that I think the developers really took the time to want to give it a personality. And I think that's where they should get the top credit, that the game has top tier personality. Where there's saturated culture of gaming, they do not fall into that vein and they decide to bring personality to the game and do something special. So that's my breakdown. Now for you to enjoy this, just go into it to have some fun. It could, on normal, if you're very skilled and you love fast-paced games like myself, you're going to want to turn it up just a little bit, which will add a super challenge. It does get challenging, and I promise you, fighting these bosses on hard starts to showcase true skill. Dodging and being able to use all your abilities against a boss can get very interesting. So that's something I personally love, and I think that you will too if that's your style. So feel free to check it out. Again, this isn't a sponsored ad or anything like that. It is a review code given to me because Dissolver decided to hit up their PR team, Tinsley PR, tell them, hey, he deserves a copy. And I got lucky enough to present this to you guys, and I hope you all enjoy it. I know I personally will, and I'm very excited about replaying this fully on stream. Going to be happening the day before release, and then I'll probably play it again sometime so you guys can check it out for yourselves. All right. Please leave a like and sub if you want more of this type of content. We appreciate your time and your energy. Be safe out there.